I was in the back passenger, my sister was to my left. My dad was driving, my mom was in the passenger seat. That's when the worst came out that I had cancer.
Got a phone call for one of the doctors. Even the phrasing just seems weird to me. Your cancer tested positive. I'm like, my cancer?
We started HNC Living Foundation after my jaw surgery. We noticed there were all kinds of people that were suffering in different ways depending on their surgeries. We realized that people just skip their appointments altogether because of money.
Often the diagnosis of cancer can be a financially devastating event, and it should never affect medical care, but it does.
Teresa looked at me while we're waiting for her therapy, and she just looked at me and said, we have to do something about this. We couldn't find any foundation that focused on today's patients. It was the patients that we were going through this treatment with. They were the ones that were really suffering, and they were like the forgotten class.
I had the determination that I was going to go in there, I was going to face it, and I was going to beat it. And I saw some people coming in their pajamas and their slippers.
You know, if they don't have somebody, somebody's got to help them. We formed a bond with the people in that clinic, but really we formed a bond with the people in that condition.
People don't really know or understand how much it's affecting these families financially, emotionally, physically. It just really takes a toll.
You know, you can be working 40 hours a week, making a decent living, but still cancer is expensive and it sneaks up on you, and there's always something.
People don't realize about head and neck cancer that it's an ongoing process, that there's no really end date to it.
If I've had radiation on a different part of my body, I might be able to cover it up. But I can't cover up a neck, a face. It's devastating, and radiation never goes away. 7 years out, it's still there.
Every patient I talk to, it's important to explain the difference about living like you have cancer and living like you don't have cancer. What this foundation does at its heart and passion is really fill those gaps and be able to provide what's needed, but what the system as a whole isn't able to provide.
I think our successes are in the day-to-day living stories. We have a real foundation that can help people live life fully through financial aid.
I can list the things, I can list the garment, I can list the gas card, I can list vitamins and medication, but they gave me a lot more than that. HNC, they gave me peace of mind.
There are a lot of tremendous organizations out there that do research, but what we found that truly the biggest impact that you can see is on someone's daily life. Someone today, it changes their life, it truly does.
I was in the back passenger, my sister was to my left. My dad was driving, my mom was in the passenger seat. That's when the worst came out that I had cancer.
Got a phone call for one of the doctors. Even the phrasing just seems weird to me. Your cancer tested positive. I'm like, my cancer?
We started HNC Living Foundation after my jaw surgery. We noticed there were all kinds of people that were suffering in different ways depending on their surgeries. We realized that people just skip their appointments altogether because of money.
Often The diagnosis of cancer can be a financially devastating event, and it should never affect medical care, but it does.
Teresa looked at me while we're waiting for her therapy, and she just looked at me and said, we have to do something about this. We couldn't find any foundation that focused on today's patients. It was the patients that we were going through this treatment with. They were the ones that were really suffering, and they were like the forgotten class.
I had the determination that I was going to go in there, I was going to face it, and I was going to beat it. And I saw some people coming in their pajamas and their slippers.
You know, if they don't have somebody, somebody's got to help them. We formed a bond with the people in that clinic, but really we formed a bond with the people in that condition.
People don't really know or understand how much it's affecting these families financially, emotionally, physically. It just really takes a toll.
You know, you can be working 40 hours a week, making a decent living, but still cancer is expensive and it sneaks up on you, and there's always something.
People don't realize about head and neck cancer that it's an ongoing process, that there's no really end date to it.
If I've had radiation on a different part of my body, I might be able to cover it up. But I can't cover up a neck, a face. It's devastating, and radiation never goes away. 7 years out, it's still there.
Every patient I talk to, it's important to explain the difference about living like you have cancer and living like you don't have cancer. What this foundation does at its heart and passion is really fill those gaps and be able to provide what's needed, but what the system as a whole isn't able to provide.
I think our successes are in the day-to-day living stories. We have a real foundation that can help people live life fully through financial aid.
I can list the things, I can list the garment, I can list the gas card, I can list vitamins and medication, but they gave me a lot more than that. HNC, they gave me peace of mind.
There are a lot of tremendous organizations out there that do research, but what we found that truly the biggest impact that you can see is on someone's daily life. Someone today, it changes their life, it truly does.
I was in the back passenger, my sister was to my left, my dad was driving, my mom was in the passenger seat. That's when the worst came out, that I had cancer.
Got a phone call for one of the doctors. Even the phrasing just seems weird to me. Your cancer tested positive. I'm like, my cancer?
We started HNC Living Foundation after my jaw surgery. We noticed there were all kinds of people that were suffering in different ways depending on their surgeries. We realized that people just skip their appointments altogether because of money.
Often the diagnosis of cancer can be a financially devastating event, and it should never affect medical care, but it does.
Teresa looked at me while we're waiting for her therapy, and she just looked at me and said, we have to do something about this. We couldn't find any foundation that focused on today's patients. It was the patients that we were going through this treatment with. They were the ones that were really suffering, and they were like the forgotten class.
I had the determination that I was going to go in there, I was going to face it, and I was going to beat it. And I saw some people coming in their pajamas and their slippers.
You know, if they don't have somebody, somebody's got to help them. We formed a bond with the people in that clinic, but really we formed a bond with the people in that condition.
People don't really know or understand how much it's affecting these families financially, emotionally, physically. It just really takes a toll.
You know, you can be working 40 hours a week, making a decent living, but still cancer is expensive and it sneaks up on you and there's always something.
People don't realize about head and neck cancer that it's an ongoing process, that there's no really end date to it.
If I've had radiation on a different part of my body, I might be able to cover it up. But I can't cover up a neck, a face. It's devastating and radiation never goes away. 7 years out, it's still there.
Every patient I talk to, it's important to explain the difference about living like you have cancer and living like you don't have cancer. What this foundation does at its heart and passion is really fill those gaps and be able to provide what's needed, but what the system as a whole isn't able to provide.
I think our successes are in the day-to-day living stories. We have a real foundation that can help people live life fully through financial aid.
I can list the things, I can list the garment, I can list the gas card, I can list vitamins and medication, but they gave me a lot more than that. HNC, they gave me peace of mind.
There are a lot of tremendous organizations out there that do research, but what we found that truly the biggest impact that you can see is on someone's daily life. Someone today, it changes their life, it truly does.
Hello, and welcome to Mass for Aid. Following the cancellation of Mass for Aid last spring, we're gathering virtually in light of the global health crisis. I hope that you and your families are doing well and that the pandemic has caused very minimal interruption to your lives. Nevertheless, we're thrilled to have a way to celebrate our 7th rendition of this amazing event, Masks for Aid. Thank you for being with us tonight. Never before have we shared such a profound interruption as the pandemic. Our lives look very different now. In all likelihood, we will never return to who we were or how we were before this past year. We've all experienced a transformation of sorts, and this year, through change and cancellations and new ways of living, and for far too many, loss. I can't help but to reflect on that feeling, the feeling of interruption, not knowing in the moment what lies ahead on the other side of sobering news. Each and every patient that HNC Living Foundation serves knows this feeling intimately. Cancer. You have cancer. How jarring it must be to hear those words. And then to realize the type of cancer that you have will affect the way you eat, taste, how you talk, how this cancer will change the way people see you. Hearing the words, "you have cancer," sets into motion hundreds, if not thousands, of obstacles that change your path. So not only do you have cancer, but you have cancer during a global pandemic. Now add the challenges of COVID, unemployment, access to healthcare, shutdown of schools, dental offices, businesses, and more. These challenges are significantly more complicated for people with head and neck cancer. Not only did necessary support services continue to be costly, but the shutdown actually closed off the ability to access these services. Not to mention, treatments for many of these patients were considered non-essential. We are so grateful to the medical community for all that they have done throughout this pandemic, and especially for head and neck cancer patients. HNC Living Foundation has been there for these patients every step of the way. Because of your financial support, HNC Living Foundation has helped over 3,000 patients and is now working in 43 states across the country. Tonight, you're going to meet two of those patients, Melinda and Caden, two survivors who HNC Living Foundation has supported throughout their cancer journey. Both individuals have experienced the interruption of cancer. Through HNC Living Foundation and generous supporters like you, these individuals have found healing and hope and strength, and ultimately art and beauty in their survivorship. We hope that you continue to connect with our mission, not just to help patients beat cancer or the effects of head and neck cancer, but specifically to help them get back to living their life more fully. And now I invite you to meet Melinda as she describes what it is like to face the interruption of cancer.
I didn't know that I had a family history of cancer going into my journey. My grandfather had mouth cancer. I'm assuming it was on his jaw because growing up, he always looked a little different. He had to have part of his jaw removed. And of course he had a scar, but as a child, you don't really, it's just how he was. So I didn't really think a whole lot of it, but I did know he had cancer. I just never really thought a lot of it because I was a kid. And then after I got cancer, about 2.5 years ago, my mom got diagnosed with esophageal cancer, the same exact type and everything in her esophagus. She opted to not fight. She was tired before she ever got cancer, and she just didn't want to take the treatment, and she passed away about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Good, good.
Right, so today will be a lot like last time.
Okay.
Only but a little more detailed.
Okay.
So custom trays made back here, and then we're gonna order them.
I noticed a little tiny spot about the size of a pinhead. I mean, just really tiny, on the side of my tongue, and it didn't hurt, so I, didn't really think much of it. I go to the doctor every 3 months or so for my back unrelated issues. So when I would go to her, I would mention it, and she would look at it and ask me, does it hurt? And of course it didn't. So, neither one of us would we'll just watch it and, see. And that went on for a good year of it not really moving or growing. And then it did. About, I don't even know, like 4 or 5 months later, I started noticing that it was getting bigger, and then it started hurting. So when I went to my next appointment, I said, this is like starting to hurt, it's getting bigger, something's not right. And I think I kind of knew, but I didn't want to, face it. I didn't really know what it was, I just kind of had a feeling that it shouldn't be here this long, something's not quite right. So my doctor immediately said, let's send you to an ear, nose, throat doctor, because that's beyond my scope. So I went to an ear, nose, throat doctor like the week later, and he knew immediately, just by looking at me, he's like, we need to biopsy this right now, today.
And then just relax as best you can. Great, right there's perfect. Perfect, perfect. I'm gonna shimmy down here just a little bit.
So I'm like, all right, let's do it. And the doctor did the biopsy, came back in the room. He's like, you're taking this awfully well. So I knew right then. I knew, like I have chills. I knew immediately, taking what? So that's when I pretty much knew. And it took a week to get the biopsy results, and then my whole family went with me to that appointment because I pretty much knew what I was going to hear. I was numb, honestly. I was scared, numb, trying to put on a good front so that they wouldn't be scared. But it was scary. I wasn't sure what I was facing, but I knew it couldn't be good. I really just remember going in my room alone and just crying because I didn't want everyone else to see me, because I didn't want like my kids to feel it worse than they already did about it. And then I didn't sleep for like a couple days because I was scared and nervous. Couldn't believe like how this is happening to me. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, why me? But then I just finally, like, I'm a firm believer in God and that everything happens for a reason. So I just kind of came to an acceptance of it. And I was just like, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to show my kids that you can be strong and do what you have to do and get through it. And, you know, whatever the outcome is, that's what's meant to be. 45 to 50 rounds of radiation, and that was Monday through Friday for 2.5 hours. A lot of my tongue to be, you know, removed. And I had to go through hyperbaric chamber therapy, and that was 50 rounds at 2 hours each time. You know, I live in a small town, so there's nothing really local, so I had to travel for pretty much everything. And most of my medical appointments were at KU Hospital and the Cancer Center, and they were absolutely amazing. So, you know, I just didn't have any short commutes at all. It was a long, no matter which way you look at it, it was a long drive there and back. Financially, just in gas and wear and tear on your vehicle alone, you know, it's overwhelming. You don't think about, oh, you know, it's going to cost me $6 every single day just to go to an appointment in gas. And, you know, heaven forbid if your vehicle breaks down or something. I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot that you don't think of until you are having to deal with it. For me, you know, my whole journey, the cancer journey, it's been horrible, to say the least. But, and I mean, cancer, no matter where you get it, it's, you know, it's horrible. But people don't realize, you know, a lot of cancers you can't see and you don't know people have it.
I want you to say 77.
77.
66.
66.
Church.
No, that isn't the case for head and neck cancer patients. It's very visible. You know, I have a visible scar. I obviously have no teeth. I talk with a little bit of a lisp because of my tongue, you know, having to have some of that removed. So it's not a cancer you can hide from. And even when you're done, you still, you know, you still have the scars from it visible. It was hard to look in the mirror. It was hard to accept that. But I just had to tell myself, I'm here. It could be worse. My mom's not here, so, you know, be thankful that you're alive. So I just got the attitude of, it is what it is. So I didn't think that I would be able to afford to get dentures. It wasn't really an option for me. And so when my dentist told me about the Head and Neck Cancer Foundation grant, and that, you know, was I interested in applying, I like almost screamed, yes, yes.
Hi, Sarah, how are you?
I'm doing well, how are you?
So good, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me today. And thanks everybody at Delta Dental for all of your support of HNC Living Foundation. We just couldn't be more grateful to you and to everybody at Delta Dental.
Oh, you're welcome. We're very, very pleased to have the partnership with your organization.
You know, we're here, we're on Zoom because we're still working remotely for the most part, but rest assured, we're still helping patients every single day. And part of that is because of your support and partnership. One of the patients that we are helping with through our partnership, her name is Melinda, and Melinda was diagnosed with head and neck cancer, specifically tongue cancer, when she was 45. A single mother, and just a devastating diagnosis, as you can imagine. And she is now 6 years cancer-free now, 6 years later. But the ongoing impact and effects that the radiation had on her oral health and specifically, you know, her tongue, her mouth, saliva, teeth has been just devastating. Agency Living Foundation has been able to help her with nutritional supplements, transportation, those kinds of things. Without our partnership with Delta Dental of Kansas, Melinda would not be getting her dentures right now. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. You know, we're just really pleased that we're able to provide some funding for patients like Melinda. We know that there's just far too many head and neck cancer patients across the country for whom the financial challenges are just as burdensome as the medical ones. And here at Delta Dental of Kansas, we're proud to provide the funds for Agency Living Foundation to alleviate as many of those financial challenges as possible for patients like Melinda. We really want to make sure that she can focus on her treatment and her recovery.
I think it's also important that you know that you have helped transform Agency Living Foundation. Because of your support and your faith in Agency Living Foundation, other funders across the country have also now been able to support us. They have felt the same kind of call to help with the oral health care. And so we have now been able to secure funds in multiple other states, specifically to help with the dental care and the oral health care that is an ongoing problem for head and neck cancer patients that goes far beyond any insurance. And so it was through Delta Dental of Kansas' first gift to us that really kind of put us on the map. And we are now in 43 states and counting. And that wouldn't have been possible without your support.
Wow, that is amazing. I know that your organization is really the premier resource for oral cancer patients, and we have been so pleased to partner with you on serving the needs of Kansans. And it makes us extremely happy, me personally extremely happy, to learn that the partnership has also helped gain support of others to allow for that assistance to really move beyond the state of Kansas and into other much needed areas. Your organization is one that is truly making a difference in the communities in which you serve and also in the lives of those that you assist. So thank you for that. We really are so happy and pleased to have your organization available to help people.
Well, thank you. I mean, I feel like we're here trying to thank you and then you're thanking us back. I mean, we're just so grateful. And I know on behalf of all of the patients that we have been able to help, and that's hundreds of patients because of your support.
You know, we've heard stories of the ability to maybe have the dentures, and everyone knows that kind of having a smile can really transform a person's self-confidence and maybe help them with future opportunities in life. And so it's really, really a special partnership I think we have with your organization. And I'm happy to hear too that partnership extends to the dentists and the dental offices throughout the state.
Again, thank you for your partnership, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Not being able to, afford to get my own dentures, the ability to have a grant from the Head and Neck Cancer Living Foundation and Delta Dental has been, that was like winning the lottery. It was like one of the best days ever in the whole process, just to know that I didn't have to be like, I'm only 53, I'm too young to not have teeth. So that was a super happy moment. So I wanted to, I said when I'm all done, when this is completely over with, I feel like God, number one, saved me for a purpose, and number two, I want to be a voice for other people. I want to mentor someone who's just diagnosed. I wish I would have had someone that sat with me my first few appointments and just be there for you, saying, it's okay. I've been where you are and it's going to be okay. And so I want to be able to do that for somebody that is feeling like I felt, who, you know, you're scared. You don't know what to expect. You've never been through it. You don't know what's coming. It's a lot. It's a lot to process. And I feel like had I had someone who has gone through the same things or something similar, you know, just to give you hope that you're going to be okay and you can do this. And that's what I want to do for somebody else. And that's what the Head and Neck Cancer Living Foundation did for me. They gave me hope. And I want to return that. I want to pay it back. The process of being able to literally pick your smile, so to speak, was, I mean, giddy is the only word I can really think of. It was just, when the dentist held up the one tooth just so I could get an idea what the shade was going to be like.
I think that looks
nice.
Like
I like it.
It's a natural color.
Yep. I like it.
But I think that'll...
When he held it up there, it was just like I had to fight back tears of joy because it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done. I mean, you're never really done, but for me, that's like, okay, you made it. You made it to the other side.
Melinda, thank you for being here with us and for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me. I feel incredibly honored to be here.
Well, we know that the path to survivorship is not an easy one, and that your journey has been especially difficult. And some people actually even choose not to fight this disease. I think you know a little bit about that. Can you talk about that?
Yes, actually. Unfortunately, I do know too well. About 3 years into my diagnosis, my mom was diagnosed with the same exact cancer, squamous cell carcinoma, it's a mouthful, which was skin cancer that can form anywhere. Hers formed in her esophagus, so it was down lower, and she was going to need chemo and radiation. And she was already, you know, not very healthy to begin with, and she just chose not to fight. It was just too hard for her. She just made, you know, I'm sure, an incredibly painful decision. And unfortunately, I lost her about 1.5 years ago to cancer. So for me, it made my fight even more significant after having lost her.
So I can't imagine what that's like to lose a parent while going through your own cancer of the same kind of cancer diagnosis. And what made you choose to fight?
Honestly, for me, it really wasn't an option. I have 3 children, one of which was still at home. He was only 14. And then I have now 4 grandchildren, but 2 at the time with 1 on the way. So I wasn't going to go down without fighting. It wasn't an option.
Melinda, we're here tonight. We're celebrating Mass for Aid, and we're celebrating survivorship, specifically your survivorship, as well as many others. And as we socially distance amidst the pandemic, and we try to bring this event to our viewers at home, it would be very difficult for them to know all of the challenges and the struggles that you've faced, but also that you are here talking to me without teeth.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is an effect, this is an impact that you experience, and many experience, because of head and neck cancer.
Yes, ma'am. It's, you know, they kind of warn you going into radiation that it could happen, but, you know, of course you think, no, it won't happen to me. I have strong teeth. No. The damage is just beyond what you can even comprehend at the time. And, you know, even with the pandemic, even with wearing masks and stuff, you know that you don't have teeth. You know that you don't look like you should look. So even though maybe other people don't see that, or I can hide behind a mask during the pandemic, I always know that it's not, I don't have my teeth. I don't feel like I should feel yet. So getting those dentures from HNC Living Foundation and Delta Dental, not only will it fix my outer appearance in my mind, it kind of is like tying a bow on everything that I've had to endure. It's like, okay, finally, you're going to look somewhat like you looked going into it, because it definitely changes your appearance.
Is your family watching tonight?
They are.
They are. And so you're finished with radiation, and they give you a mask. At the end of your radiation treatment, they hand you the mask that you used during all those treatments. And talk to me about your feelings about this mask.
I personally wanted to throw it in the trash can. I didn't want to look at it ever again. To me, it was a reminder of being tortured, basically. I know it was for your good, but at the time you don't feel that way. And my son William, my oldest, he accompanied me on many of my appointments, and he wanted to keep it. He's like, "No, Mom, I want to keep it. It's a sign of your strength and what all you've endured." And he took it home and put it on his wall above his couch. And I would go over there and I'd be like, "I don't want to look at that, take it down." And he's like, "No, Mom, you survived, you do want to look at it." So when they asked me if I would be willing to donate it for, to have it transformed into a work of art, to me, I didn't see how something so hideous and horrible in my eyes could be transformed to something so amazing, but clearly it can. So I'm super excited because it's going to take something that was so terrible and make it something so beautiful and amazing.
And is William joining us tonight from home?
He is.
He is. Well, we want to thank William for saving this mask and for also allowing H&C Living Foundation to take this mask and to help you transform this mask into a beautiful piece of art, really symbolizing the struggle and the triumph of your survivorship. And H&C Living Foundation has had this as a signature part of our fundraising efforts to support patients like yourself. And co-founder Teresa Walsh commissioned the evolution of her own mask, was the very first survivor to do so. And so we have her mask right here. And so tonight we will be taking Melinda's mask, and we have a longtime artist and supporter, Rhoda Powers, who's an amazing artist, and she will be taking your mask and transforming it into a beautiful piece of art. We gave this mask to her a couple of weeks ago, and next up we're going to be able to watch how Rhoda has transformed your mask.
Yes, I'm so excited.
My interest in art goes back to as a child. I mean, we didn't have much as kids, so one of the things that I wanted so desperately was a box of 16 crayons, and I got 8, and consistently got 8, and I needed more color in my life, and so I just kind of decided that early that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know anything about it. I wanted color. I was happy to come to Kansas City after I graduated from Emporia State. I married in '86 and stayed home with my kids for years and years. And when they got into school, then I started thinking about it, because when you quiet something but it's always still there, and kind of like a drum beat where it just gets louder and louder, and you just, even if you're not listening to it, it's still there. So finally in my 40s I decided I was going to do it. My husband and I had split, and my boys were in a good place, and I was like, it's now or never. I finally just really settled on glass. I get the color, glass is strong and it's fragile at once. So 2007 I'm going, okay, so we'll try a show. Now I have just one 40-hour-a-week job and then some side hustles in addition to the glass. This would probably be a good time to tell about my dad, huh? I think it kind of struck home, and in that head and neck cancer is such a devastating thing. My dad had esophageal cancer, and he, as a veteran, went to the VA, and it was he had waited really a long time, and didn't take care of it as quickly as he could have or should have, perhaps. He probably knew something was wrong and just decided that. I just had my first son. He came to Kansas City to visit. That's when I saw it, and I asked him, I said, what's going on? Maybe you need to go see a doctor. I mean, when I took my dad to the VA, I mean, he was in the service, right? He was in World War II. And the first time I saw him frightened was when he walked down the hall towards his first appointment at the VA. But there wasn't a lot they could do, so he had just retired. I think that's what really bothers me the most, that he didn't really get to expend his retirement in the manner in which he liked. But, so that's why HNC Living is, it's an honor for me to participate in this. I do that thinking of him always, and he had never seen any of my artwork, really. I started creating long after he was gone. So I think he would like it. I think he would enjoy it, but I don't know. That's why it's my dad. He's a good man. It is, I think about it a long time before I do anything. Like in this particular instance where I actually got to meet the recipient of the artwork, and she told me what she likes and things like that. And so, but with all of that information comes things I need to solve. So I needed to solve where it was going. It's going on a charcoal gray wall, a dark wall. So how do I show it in its best light on a charcoal gray wall if it's glass? And how do I solve scale if it's going over the sofa? So I learned how big the sofa was. And then the things that she likes, the colors and things like that, how do I bring those all together and still look good with this background? Although she felt absolutely certain she would love it, you know, it is always something in the back of your mind that you work towards. Once I solved all of that, then I go to the paper to create the sketch for the glass itself. I'll cut that glass. Every single piece will be hand cut. And then there is something added. I always add a surprise for the recipient, because I don't want them to already know what it's going to look like. In this particular case, can I tell it? It's going to have pieces of clockworks, watchworks in it, because her treatment and the mask itself has given her time. And so I thought I needed to incorporate time, or pieces of time, in the artwork itself.
Hello, Melinda.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Well, it's so good to see you.
Thank you.
So sorry to hear about the passing of your father.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If you haven't been through enough already.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody here at HNC Living Foundation, we send our sympathies and our support. But today, I thank you for joining me on Zoom just for a quick art reveal, so that maybe this could be a bright spot in your week.
Yes, yes.
Are you ready to see it?
I'm ready.
Can you see it?
Oh my God, no way, I love it. Wow, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful, wow. It resembles nothing at all of that horrible mask. I love it.
Oh, we are so glad.
She did an amazing job, better than I even could have thought. I love it.
We're so happy that you.
Cry.
Well, so are we. So am I. This will be something that you keep for a really long time to remind you of all that you've been through, but really that you've gone through it, you've survived it, and you're on the other side of it now. So we're so happy and grateful that we got to be a part of this with you.
You guys have been such a blessing through all this. You really have. I just can't thank you enough. That's absolutely beautiful. I can't thank you enough.
I'm so glad you like it. Well, Melinda, I hope the rest of your week goes better than it has, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you at HNC Living Foundation, and thank you, Rhoda. It's beautiful.
Okay, take care.
All right, hon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We are incredibly grateful to Rhoda and her long-standing dedication to HNC Living Foundation. It is so amazing to see the evolution of Melinda's mask for Melinda. This is what Mask for Aid is all about. For the patients served by HNC Living Foundation, radiation is usually one of many costs and treatments included in their path to recovery. Our focus to serve as a direct resource to patients allowed us to provide a lifeline to many, many patients during this pandemic. From simple rideshare services to Melinda's dentures, to nutritional supplements and pricey oral devices needed to breathe, eat, and live life fully. We were able to help patients get to and pay for needed treatments. We are asking you to give generously to the link below or by texting the number on your screen. You can even visit the event webpage and pledge your donation at hncliving.org. Every single gift tonight will go directly to supporting patient care. Any amount given will help head and neck cancer patients through treatment and recovery. Any gift also provides hope, strength, and light for those experiencing the interruption of cancer. We are grateful to all of those who have given through Mask for Aid tonight and to our generous sponsors. Gifts over $1,000 tonight will provide so much for the patients we serve: life-saving dental care, radiation, transportation, and nutrition. But any gift will do so much for so many. $500 covers a portion of the cost of dentures, like those Melinda will receive, allowing her to get back to living life more fully. $250 covers the copay for 4 visits to see specialists, like those Melinda saw for her hyperbaric chamber treatments. If you don't know what that means, it's just one of the complicated treatments essential to the recovery for many head and neck cancer patients. $100 covers a week's worth of nutritional supplements, which are important for keeping our patients healthy and able to continue the treatment. As the gifts continue to come in, we thank you. We also invite you to hear from Caden, our youngest patient ever served by HNC Living Foundation. Initially, Caden was diagnosed at just 14. And unique to his treatment, Caden needed and continues to outgrow a medical device imperative to his daily life as a survivor and a teenager and an artist. I first met Caden last year when he sat down to talk to us about the challenges he faced as a pediatric head and neck cancer survivor and benefactor of HNC Living Foundation support. We are so grateful to be sharing his story and to know that we have had a small part in helping him get back to living his life more fully. When I met Caden last year, what struck me most was his concern for his parents. As a mother, I was awestruck by his courage and concern for his family while he battled cancer. Cancer doesn't just impact the individual, it impacts the entire family. So tonight, we invite you to meet Caden and to see how HNC Living Foundation has helped him get back to living his life more fully as a teenager and a musician. After the event, I hope you will stay connected with Caden and support his continued success.
I can't escape the past in my brain, so I stay awake to take away escapes. Please give me a sign and tell me it'll be fine. God, I'm losing my mind. Why'd you keep me alive? Why'd you keep me alive? Why'd you keep me alive? My mama always told me to keep it off of my mind, cause nothing's gonna heal it, just gotta give it some time. I keep looking for the pain and with no on the other side. When I'm feeling really low, I keep drowning in all these highs, but I can't occupy my mind with the shit I can control. Feelings that I fight won't affect me when I'm old. I wanna reach heights to the stories that I told. If I ever came short, I can never stand my soul. All of the promises that I've been making, when I look back at myself, well, I hate that I couldn't live up to the man I've been praying to God I could be. He gave me blessings, my mother and father to me. I just hope I'm not falling too deep. All of these thoughts, can't find the answers. I'm praying to God, why'd I make it from cancer? Why did you take her away so damn early in days? To her I can never compare. All of the hell that she went through and tears on her tissue, she always gave others a care. I never told her how hard all the things that she said to me hit me. I know it ain't fair, I know there's a reason, I know there's a purpose, but I can't come up through the terrible surface. Do I deserve this? Give me the chance and I'll prove to myself that I'm more than just worthless. I would do anything, trust me, I know about the pain. The scars made a beast, I be drowning in Hennessy. Maybe by taking away all the hate in my brain, all the pain and the guilt cannot get to me. It's probably sick of me, keeping it locked in a cage where the light never reaches its eyes. For years I've been out in disguise, acting like everything's fine when I would just hide. Then I was given a chance to tell them my story, the goriness flooded my mind. Anxiety struck from behind, months passed by, I thought I was dying inside, but I was reliving the fight. When it said anything brought out the tears in my eyes. I'd rather just die, I'd rather just die. I can't escape the past in my brain, so I stay awake to take away escapes. Please give me a sign and tell me it'll be fine. God, I'm losing my mind. Why'd you keep me alive? Why'd you keep me alive? Why'd you keep me alive?
Yeah, how many times do I gotta keep asking? Why wasn't I the one picking my casket? I had it rough, but others who had it would always be tragic. I hope they're all laughing with you. For them, I be singing the saddest of blues. I know that their pain is erased, but more than that, I hope I made them all proud in my days. When I get up there face to face, please, God, you know my mistakes. I promise you I would be nothing but grace. I promise I'm trying my best, cause I know she's watching me grow as a beautiful soul up in heaven right after she left. Man, I feel blessed. Blessings on blessings on blessings, and still I be hella upset. I know my past was a lesson to never be stressing about nothing. As long as I'm using my head, they know I'm not better off dead. But that doesn't mean that my life ain't a mess. But now I found music, I'm hella obsessed. Now I can open my feelings without a response. An ocean of healing came out of the pond. You know what I'm dealing with, pros and no cons. I open the ceiling by making these songs. But now I aim for the stars, cause if I can get there, it wouldn't be hard for all of the kids who ain't healed from the scars to hear what I'm doing. I know they ain't far from me. Flashing back then, I would start to scream. The things that I've been through, they hard to believe. And since I'm still here, I'll go far to achieve what they all couldn't, they all of our dreams. I'ma make sure that I live enough life for all of the kids who ain't make it. Used to just hide from the fact I survived, but now is my time to embrace it. I can't escape it, the reason he kept me alive is so I can keep telling these phrases. That's why a patient can swim through an ocean of cries. I knew it'd respond if I waited.
I can't escape the past in my brain, so I stay awake to take away escapes. Please give me a sign and tell me it'll be fine. God, I'm losing my mind. Why'd you keep me alive? Why'd you keep me alive? Why'd you keep me alive?
I mean, before I got cancer or knew it was cancer, I knew what cancer was, and I instantly, 13-year-old me, instantly associated it with death, which is pretty bad. But once I actually got it, it was way worse than I imagined it would be. And when I first got it, I completely envisioned myself differently and like this weak person that I didn't want to be. I didn't want to tell anybody at school because I didn't want everybody, thinking about me and, being sorry for me. It was the biggest thing. So I didn't want to talk about that. And it was also just really hard emotionally for me and my family and everyone who knew about it, because I didn't want them to be sad. I didn't want to talk about all the things that I had to do in the hospital and, possibility of death. And at 13 years old, that's just not something you want to think about. And then by the time we got over the surgery and stuff like that, and we were just doing scans and stuff through high school, I didn't really want to tell anybody about it still, because I was like, well, in my mind, the hard part's over with. I want to get on with my life. I want to get past that. But I just didn't talk about it at all. And because I didn't want to, it was painful. Since you guys interviewed me, it forced me to like start remembering things, because I had to tell the story. And I started reliving like the most sad memories that I had and all the pain. I mean, at first I got anxiety attacks. I'm not gonna lie, it was like a PTSD. I would see something and I would flash back and live through memories that I kind of forgot about. They were like the kind of anxiety attacks where my whole body would be shaking, my heart would be pounding out of my chest. I would be like hands tingling, neck tingling. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was having a heart attack and dying every single time, and it would happen once or twice a day for 2-3 months. So I had to get some medication for that. The girl, Ginny, who I talk about in that song, she reached out to me when I was 13, and she had the cancer as well, same osteosarcoma, but it was in her leg. And she texted me and she was like, hey, like, I know you have this and I know exactly what you're going through. I have it as well. If you ever need to talk to anybody about it, then I'm here to talk to you. And I said, like, thank you so much. I'm glad that you reached out. And then when I found out that she died, I was actually at my uncle's house in Wichita, and it hit me really hard because she was like a beautiful soul. Like she would like make videos like for all the kids, like what it's like to go through treatment and tips on how to stay strong mentally. And I remember thinking, like, I didn't do any of that. Like, what was I wasn't providing anything to anybody. I was just being here complaining. So I was like, how come someone like that, who is going through the worst of it and being just like giving her energy to everybody else, how does she die and I get to stay here? For the longest time, I had this survivor's guilt, and I was just trying to figure out why. And then one day it finally clicked, where I was like, I was kept here for a reason, and I have to make sure that I put out as much positivity and help as many people as I can, just because I'm here and other people didn't get the chance. Since I started music, I'd say I'm the happiest that I've ever been, because it's weird. I feel like I'm in a place that I should be in, and like I haven't been in that state of mind before. With music, it's like this whole different passion, and the fact that I'm able to use those emotions and like find a reason that I was kept here and just channel it and connect those two and make it into a song and have it help people and inspire people. I didn't know how much it inspired people until I started making the music, because they would hear it and they'd be like, holy cow, like I didn't even know about this story. This is really inspiring, like your words. And I was like, I didn't realize I could help people like this. So it was a real relief to me. The Optrader that HNC helped me pay for, it helps me to be able to like speak every day, obviously, and like I couldn't eat without it, I couldn't drink without it, and especially with the music stuff, like I obviously wouldn't be able to sing or rap, but it really just helps me every day to feel normal. Cancer, you have to deal with it years and years after. It's got to be 5 years till you're officially cancer free, but still after that you're gonna have lingering effects that you got to deal with. But at the same time, if you can use those moments, like whenever I go to the dentist and I have to get my Optrader adjusted, I do get frustrated, but it makes me remember that I could have had it worse, and I am still here and I'm still able to talk, and I have to make sure that I put out as much positivity and help as many people as I can, just because I'm here and other people didn't get the chance. And it really brings you down to earth, and to remember that definitely could have been a lot worse.
Wow, that was such a great performance. Caden's story is so inspiring, and he's so talented, but it does really remind me that the struggle with cancer never ends. Caden is a great example of persevering through cancer survivorship. He moved forward by channeling his anxiety, pain, and even his gratitude into music. While Caden will always endure the struggles of his Optrader, among many other effects of cancer, his lyrics remind us of the unseen struggles of cancer. You heard him rap about survivor's guilt and even friends who didn't make it. He let us know that survivorship is not easy. Like Caden, our co-founders, Teresa and Tom Walsh, know too well the struggles that come with head and neck cancer and the heaviness of survivorship. Joining us now from their virtual watch party, Tom and Teresa Walsh. Hi, Tom. Hi, Teresa.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you, Danielle. That was wonderful. And thank you so much for all of you for being with us tonight. It means so much to so many people for your continued support. And talk about interrupted, huh? This year has been tough for everyone. It's so foreign, so stressful, and so uncertain. And like Danielle said, for cancer patients, every day is interrupted. You have chemotherapy, radiation therapy, endless doctor's appointments, and living every day with terrible uncertainty. But watching Melinda, nearing her journey to living life to its fullest, and Caden, who continues to endure repercussions of survivorship, the support they receive from HNC Living Foundation gives them hope.
And we can't ever forget that helping these patients and the many more patients to come would not be possible but without you. We thank each and every one of our donors, and in particular, we'd really like to thank our strategic partners in Delta Dental, the University of Kansas Health System, and all of our sponsors that have helped us along the way, enabling us to help these patients. And if you haven't yet, there's still an opportunity today to text or visit our website to make your donation to help us with our mission.
Your generosity tonight is providing so much hope. Thank you again for your compassion, your humanity, and your giving hearts. And thank you to our family for being with us tonight. It means the world to us to have all of you here. Thank you, Melinda. You are wonderful. We are so humbled to be part of your return to living life fully. And Caden, you're amazing. Thank you for giving back and sharing your positivity. And I want to tell you, you are a rock star. And Rhoda, thank you for your love of HNC Living. It's obvious in your work, your kind heart, and your compassion. And I want to tell you, I'm sure your father has seen your art, and I know he's very proud of you.
And we can't go on further without saying a special thank you to the team that made this presentation tonight possible. Danielle, Alyssa, Libby, Spencer, everyone involved, thank you so much for letting us join you tonight with this presentation.
Thank you again so much, and please keep HNC Living in your heart. We love you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Tom and Teresa. All of this wouldn't be possible without you. Because of you, over 3,000 patients in 43 states have found relief in the services and financial assistance provided by HNC Living Foundation. On behalf of all of those patients, thank you for all that you've done for so many head and neck cancer patients. As we close out tonight, I want to remind you to stay engaged with HNC Living Foundation in the coming weeks when we share Melinda's beautiful new dentures and the transformation of her smile. We'll also share in the coming days Caden and the release of Keep Me Alive. To witness the true transformation of Melinda's mask, view our virtual gallery, where you can zoom in and explore amazing intricacies of the artwork created by Rhoda. She has generously created a sister piece to Melinda's mask, and we will be taking bids as we continue to fundraise for Mass for Aid through May. Visit the link to explore this year's art, make a bid, and witness the art from years past. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and please share tonight's broadcast, available after the event, with your friends and family. The interruption of the past year will not keep us from providing the healing connections our patients so desperately need following the interruption of their own diagnosis. Let us ensure our patients are equipped to get back to living life fully, just like Melinda and Caden. Thank you so much. Stay healthy and well, and we look forward to gathering together in person again next year.